Agricultural reforms have to happen also. And mind you, I think these things are progressing in other states. When the protests happened against the three farm laws, they were largely confined to the 3 states or 2.5 states, I would say, bordering Delhi. None of the other states were in this protest, some of the reforms that these 3 laws were bringing in had already been enacted actually in many of the other states. So remember that agriculture primarily is a state subject, and the early efforts at these reforms, these same reforms that were contained in the 3 farm laws, had been done through the instrumentality of the reforms at the level of the states. This was a reform which was actually initiated in 2003 by Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee through a model APMC Act. And for almost 17 years, successive governments, there was no difference actually. First, the Vajpayee government tried to bring about these reforms. Then UPA continued with that, trying to persuade the states to adopt these reforms. Then Modi government tried, and then in the end, after 17 years, when it looked like things had not progressed enough, at that point, the Modi government decided to bring in the 3 farm laws. So I think now, given the politics of it, it has to revert to the states. And so in some sense, what this also reminds me is that there's a lot of reform now which has to be done at the level of the states. And at least we have to, persuade 3 or 4 or 5 or half dozen states to adopt some of these reforms. I talked about urban reforms also, but education is there, health is there, land reforms, agricultural reforms. These are mostly subjects of the states. And I think a lot more work needs to be done at the level of the states to bring in these reforms. So for 30 years at the center we have focused, but I think much more focus is required at the level of the states.